What's up? What's up? We are back with the Book of Wisdom. No, we're reading chapter Wisdom, and we're coming from the Holy Bible, the Christian Bible, Catholic Bible. And today we're just going to be going over a couple terms, so we can fully understand the Book of Wisdom. So, alright, let's, the first thing we got on the list is wickedness, right? So let's look up wickedness. What does wickedness mean? I have to put myself in this corner right here real quick. Alright, let's go to good old Google. Wisdom. First look up wisdom, alright? The quality of having experience, knowledge, and good judgment. The quality of being wise, intelligent, understanding, insight, and perception. The soundness of an action or decision with regard to application of experience, knowledge, and good judgment. Alright, let's look up wickedness. The quality of being evil or morally wrong. Morally wrong. I guess we could look up morals. What is morally? Principles of right and wrong behavior is the way that considered right according to the code of behavior or a particular society. Moral, ethical, virtuous, righteous, and noble mean confirming to standards what is right and good. Okay? And so this is not really a definition I'm about to give, but it's more of the Pharaoh's first command. Because, the reason why I want to just sit here and prove this, because a lot of people say, why did God kill newborn babies, when he plagued Egypt? But what you should know is Pharaoh's first command was infanticide was limited to the midwives. Now, okay, let's read this. Pharaoh's first command regarding infanticide was limited to the midwives. Now Pharaoh expanded his command to all his people, or all the Egypt. Every newborn Israel's son was to be thrown to the Nile River. He essentially decreed for the mass genocide of all infant Jew males. The only other place the Bible notes a similar act was the falling birth of Jesus in Bethlehem. King Herod sought to kill the baby Jesus to remove any threat of another king. He commanded the death of all male children 2 years and younger in the city. So it wasn't partially it's not partially, what's the way to say this? It's what God did to Pharaoh and his people was what needed to happen, because this is what Pharaoh did to Israelites, And so when people when you get when you get punished how you punish others, you think it's unfair, right? Because you didn't know what you was putting the other person through, right? So so Pharaoh's first command was get rid of all the babies. Then God's plague was the same as Pharaoh's commands, And so this is something that a lot of people like to use to like sit here and prove God as like a very evil God or something, and it is not evil at all. He actually done this to show justice towards the Israelites, because that's what was being done to them. So I want to look up this this Wisdom chapter 17. For the plague of darkness. While they thought they were unseen in the secret sins, they were surrendered one form or another by a dark curtain of forgetfulness, shaken with terrible awe and sore troubled by spectral forms. For neither did the darkest recess that held them guard them from the fears, but sound rushing down rang around them, and phantoms appeared curiously with unsmiling faces. So, I really want to pull this up to look up these words. Jeering? Like, what does jeering mean? Abusing vocally, expressing contempt or ridicule. So, the word jeering, reproof. Let's look up reproof. An expression of blame or disapproval. So the abusive reproof of their vaunted. Now let's look up vaunted. Like, they use a bunch of jargon here. Praised or boasted about. Oh, okay. So that vaunted shrewdness. So it's vaunted means it's praised or boasted about, especially in an excessive way. So let's look up the shrewdness. What does shrewdness mean? The quality of having shown good powers or of judgment. So the jeering proof of their vaunted shrewdness. So what I'm getting from that is that statement is, it was a very, let's look up jeering because I need it. So it was a ridicule of their proud judgment. He was mocking them of their proud judgment and within whatever arts they were partaking in, to think that was going to keep them safe from the darkness. Now let's go to the dark veil of oblivion, and let's look more towards the darkness that covered these people. What is this? Why don't I have the yeah, I need the numbers by it. I'm trying to find it real quick. 17. Why be in John, bro? Take me to wisdom. There we go. Darkness afflicts the Egyptians, while the Israelites have light. Alright, for great are your judgment and hard to describe. Therefore the unruly souls went astray. For when the lawless thought to enslave the holy nation, They themselves lay shackled with darkness, feathered by a long night, confined beneath their own roofs as exiles for the eternal providence. For they who supposed their secret sins were hid, under the dark veil of oblivion, were scattered in a fearful trembling and terrified apparitions. For not even their inner chambers kept them unafraid, for the crashing sounds of all sides terrified them, and mute fences with somber looks appeared. No fire had force enough to give light, nor did the flaming brilliance of stars succeed in lighting up that gloomy night. But only intimate fearful fires flashed upon them, and in their terror they thought beholding these was worse than times when the sight was no longer to be seen, and mockeries their magic art failed. And they were humiliating refutation of their vaunted shrewdness. Okay, so now that is a different way of what we just looked over. There was a humiliating refutation of their vaunted shrewdness, for they undertook to banish fears and terrors from the sick souls, themselves sickened with ridiculous fear. For even those no monstrous things frightened them, they shook at the passing of insects and the hissing of reptiles, and perished trembling. Reluctant to face even the air, they could not nowhere escape. For weakness of his nature, Cali testifies on his own condemnation, and because of his distressed consciousness, always magnifies his fortune, but fears not but the surrender of the helps that come from reason. And the more one exultation is of itself uncertain, the more one makes of not knowing the cause that brings torment. So did not the night powerless though it was, since I had come upon for the recess of powerless Hades. Since I had come upon them the recesses of a powerless Hades, while all sleeping the same sleep, and partly smitten by fearsome apparitions, and partly stricken by their soul's surrender. For fear overwhelmed them, and suddenly unexpected. Thus then, whoever was there fell to the prison without bars, and was kept confined. For whether one was a foreigner or a shepherd, or a worker at task in a wasteland, taken unawares, each served the inescapable sins, for all were bound by the bound of darkness, and where only the whistling wind, or the melodious songs of birds in the spreading branches, or the steady sound of rushing water, or the rude crash of overthrown rocks, or unseen gallop of bounding animals, or the roaring cry of the fierce beast, or an echo resounding from the hollow of hills. These sounds were shone with brilliant light, and continued its works without interruption. But over them alone was spread oppressive night, an image of the darkness that was about to come upon them. Yet they were more at burden to themselves than was the darkness. So I just read that over, and I really want to touch over just the amount of darkness. Like let's literally go into just close your eyes, and I can imagine the darkness is being worse than that, because they say no light, right? No fire could be seen in this darkness. And it was just a contrast of what God was doing, because God, he was contrasting the sin of people, right, in the light of his people. Because on the other side, Egypt was going through the worst darkness that they could ever go through, and on the other hand, the Israelites were showing the brightest of lights. So let me see. For the whole world shone with brilliant light, and continued its work without interruption. But over them alone spread oppressive night, and the image of darkness that was about to come upon them. Yet they were more burdened to themselves than was the darkness. Okay, let's read this. Let's read this right here. The description of darkness of the ninth plague is a very creative development of Exodus 10:21-29. It betrays a wide of complementary thought. For the first and only time in Spegunet, the Greek word for consciousness occurs in 1711. There is no Hebrew word that is equivalent. The idea is expressed indirectly. The rendered darkness is illumined by fires. It lights that only contributed to the terror. Magic art, the Egyptian magicians who were successful at first and then failed, are now powerless against the darkness, and the phantoms are totally discredited. Powerless Hades, the netherworld, is often portrayed in the Old Testament as the hostile power, since all must die. but it has no power against God. The darkness of Hades, or Sheol. Woo! So I want to explain something about Sheol, because I was learning something about Sheol in a Bible study class with Brother Josh and Gideon, and they, you know, Jesus, he went to Sheol to preach to the souls in Sheol. So I believe that God, he has a way out, you know, for everything, but you have to repent and you have to really believe in your heart that you love God. Yeah, and so I think the only way to, because hold on, let me go into my book, because I remember seeing something about people like pleading and crying, and God made like a lamp for them to get out. Let me see. But your holy ones have very great light, and those others who heard their voices, but did not see their forms, since they themselves had suffered, called them blessed. And because they who formed had not been wronged, did not harm them, they thanked them, and pleaded with them for the sake of difference between them. Instead of this, he furnished a flaming pillar. Here we go. Because they who formed had been wronged, did not harm them, they thanked them, and pleaded with them for the sake of the difference between them. For the sake of the difference between them. Instead of this, you furnished a flaming pillar, which was a guide on the unknown way, and a mild sun for audible migration. For those deserved to be deprived of light and imprisoned by darkness, who had kept your sons confined, through whom the imperishable light of the law was to be given to the world. Ooh. So it was to be shown a difference, a big difference in people. People who take pride in magic and worldly knowledge, people who take pride in all this worldly stuff, is a big difference from somebody who take pride in God and what God does on this earth. You know, and that's what God is showing between the curse of the darkness and the amount of light that his holy ones have. And since we're already here, let's look up phantoms. You know, I'm pretty sure you guys already have an idea of a phantom, but if the Bible is saying that it's phantoms back then, so that means that ghosts are, you know, realism. You know, are they real? You know, because God, you know, he said he gave him a ghost. He sent phantoms to him. So that's crazy. That's real crazy. You know, because you hear somebody say ghosts aren't real, ghosts, and God, he's sending them to torture people. You know, and you know, when I watch some stories of like them ghost shows, it's always like some family, and they always talk about like how somebody is attached to a demon or how it's been hunting them since they was like little. And maybe is that like a generation curse that they have to go through? Like, what are they doing to get that phantom, you know? And so, because I always thought that ghost was not real until like in his Bible, it's like he sends out phantoms. So you can see a spirit. You can, you know, have something mess with you in a paranormal realm, I guess. But not everybody's going to believe that. You know, that's when they're going to say the Bible's fiction. Condemnation. Now let's get a very good definition of condemnation. An expression of strong disapproval, pronouncing as wrong or as morally culpable. His uncompromising condemnation of racism, synonyms, and disprobation. A guilty verdict or a punishment. Condemnation. This is what the devil likes to do. The devil likes to condemn people. He likes to tell people that they're wrong, they're guilty for something. You need to be punished for this. Or he might tell you that somebody else is guilty for something. They're wrong and they need to be punished for it. And this is how the devil works. He works on us being condemned or us trying to condemn somebody else. And the next thing I had was smitten by fearsome apparitions. Right? I'm pretty sure it's the same thing as phantoms. See, apparition, a ghost or ghost-like image. So this is multiple times where the Bible's talking about phantoms and ghosts. So, I guess you might have to go ghost hunting in a later series or something. If that's in God's will, because that's something I want to do to have fun. I always was amazed with ghost hunting and see if I can see a paranormal thing. But another thing we're going to look up is called period of privitation. I don't know what privitation means. If you suffer privitation or privitations, you have to live without many of the things that are thought to be necessary in life, such as food, clothing, or housing. They endured 5 years of privitation during World War II. Ooh. So this is what they went through. They went through a period of privitation, meaning they had no clothing, no food, or no housing. An act of instance or depriving. So that's what privitation means. Wow. It's good that we're looking up these terms and definitions so we're not confused when we read the book, right? What else should we look up? Inexorable. This is something I have trouble with. Inexorable. Impossible to stop or prevent. Inexorable. Inexorable. Okay, for upon the oppressors, inexorable want had to come. And that was the verse I wrote down. And I also want to look up, because in 16:14 it say confined in the neither world in limbo, right? So we have two different things, neither world and limbo. What are these things? The neither world, placed beneath the earth, comes from the neither, down or below. Definition of neither: the world of the dead. Synonym: Hades, hell, Sheol, infernal region, underworld. So that is the neither world. But what is limbo? It didn't mention anything about limbo. What is limbo? The edge or boundary, referring to the edge of hell. It is the afterlife condition of those who died in original sin without being assigned to the hell of the damned. So limbo is more that in the middle, in between, limbo. Okay. The next one is odious. What does odious mean? Deserving or causing hatred or hateful, detestable. Deserving or causing hatred or hateful. Deserving or causing hatred or hateful and detestable, highly offensive, repugnant, and disgusting. Okay. So that's odious. Odious in a sentence. Extremely unpleasant, causing deserving hate. Okay. What does luminaries mean? Person who inspires or influences others, especially one prominent in a particular spirit. A luminary. Okay, we got that. Exactitude. What does exactitude mean? I'm kind of shooting through these quite fast, because we still got Sirach to do. Sirach. Exactitude. The quality of being exact, precision, and accuracy. So exactitude. That was pretty self-explanatory. What is clemency? Mercy and lenience. So that's what clemency means. It's just another word for mercy. Mercifulness, lenience, mildness, indulgence. Let's look up endowments. may generally be described as assets, usually cash, accounted or invested in equalities or bonds or other investment vehicles. Set aside that the original asset known as the corpus grows over time as a result of income earned from interest on the underlying invested funds. So what does endowment mean? I'm lost. No, wait a minute. So, wait, okay. Endowments may generally be described as assets, usually cash accounts that are invested in equalities or bonds or other investment vehicles set aside that the original asset known as the corpus grow over time as a result of income earned from the interest on the underlying invested funds. I gotta look this up, bro. It's kind of confusing me, and I don't like when shit confuses me. How do endowments work? Endowments funds differ from others in the total amount of the gift invested. Each year, only a portion of the income earned is spent, while the remainder is added to the principal for growth. In respect, an endowment is a perpetual gift. Interesting. So it's like, what's this picture to help explain it? I'm sorry, we gotta learn this definition too, since we came across it. Oh, so they give 100 and 5,000 available for grants, and so it's like a exponential thing. Okay. Learn endowments. Now let's look up pervades, which is 724. You can find this word at in the Bible. Pervades. Pervade. Spread through and be perceived in every part of a. Spread through and be perceived in every part of a small, still. What? What? Pervades? To spread through all parts of. You're pervading. To spread through all parts of. I'm pervading my bagel. I guess you can use it like that. Shining brilliantly. Resplendent. That's what it means. Shining brilliantly. I was very resplendent. The way that she walked out the building, her shoes were resplendent. I think I kind of used that wrong. Her teeth had this resplendent smile about it. Something like that. Alright, let's look up what does holy precepts mean. Most definitely. The precepts of the church are positive laws, are set in context of moral life, bound to and nourished by lugubriety life. Each of us are called to take the responsibility of his or her spiritual life and to continue on to the path of conversion. Alright, and then I want to look up a Beatus diadem. Like, what is alright, let's look up Beatus first. Beautiful. And what is diadem? Am I even saying that right? Bible? Oh, the tiara of a king. The crown. Okay. Take zeal for armor. What is zeal? How can you take it for armor? Yeah, let's look that up. An earnest temper may be enlightened, or ignorant are misdirected. Zeal. Take zeal for armor. You must be enthusiastic to learn for God. You must be set on fire with revilement. What does revilement mean? So I must put on zeal for my armor. What does revilement mean? A rude expression intended to offend or hurt. Okay. So this came from with revilement and torture. You know, that comes from 2:19. You know, we was talking about how they were testing the Son of God. They were testing Jesus, and they were trying to put him to the test and, you know, see if he can tick, you know, and see if God will help him out. And yeah, and that's very unholy to do. Why don't test God? The only way you should test God is by giving. That's it. And that is it for the definitions of the Book of Wisdom. So if you have anything you would like to comment on, leave notes about, or even just you just gotta say something, you just want to say hello to me, please leave it in the comment section. Subscribe, leave a like, and I'm gonna get going.